desperately trying to kill the Smolder. Meanwhile, Photon body blocking, healing. Peach remounting, chasing down the little dragon.
Little chunk assisted.
No shield, chunk, don't fight. It's really good. Oh, actually.
I'm really far.
It's really good, by the way.
I'm almost here, we can fight, we can keep fighting.
Play slow.
I'm here now,
Everyone walking up.
Okay.
Look, get it. F***ing big, nice.
Ultimate.
Yeah. Oh my god, you're the GOAT. I love you.
Hello everyone and welcome back to LEC. I'm Jeannie, joined by Odo from GX after your successful game up against your opponent. Now, I want to dissect this a little bit because we're heading into playoffs. You still have one more game tomorrow against Heretics. What are the feelings right now in the team?
Well, we pretty much just doubled our wins in this week. It took us a little bit to get going, but I'm happy and relieved that the ramp up kind of happened, because you're always scared that when you're at the bottom of the standings that the ramp up doesn't happen. So yeah, even though it took 2 Elders almost to end the game, a win's a win, because before we would have these long drawn out games and we would end up losing. So at least, I'm happy that we started being more proactive, even though it's around these objectives and whatnot. But yeah, clear improvements from us, so we're quite happy with it.
Yeah, win is a win. Dobby's in the chat, right? But when we're looking particularly at tomorrow, I don't want to jinx it and say miracle run, but it feels like you guys are so close.
Yeah, I mean, this miracle run thing is starting to become a marketing thing, where you're at the bottom, you need to win 2 games out of 3 to make it. Miracle run, let's go, boys. When back in the day, miracle run meant you need to win 9 out of the next 10 games, So now it's like, props to the marketing team. They're doing a great job, Everyone deserves a raise all over, So, yeah, we take those.
Yeah, we can take those with you. Thank you so much. Make sure that we get those raises going. But
thank you.
For those of you who are watching, it is key up player of the game will be Jackies, but we're going to be heading over to the analyst deck to break out the next matchup, so stay tuned for that.
Yay, thank you, Ginny. We have more at stake here in the playoffs because BDS locked playoffs with Fnatic's win earlier against SK. They're looking to make Mad Lions Co's life harder here because where a loss for MDK means that they have only 56% of the scenarios where they can qualify. Not great odds here for Mad Lions, especially when you consider how they've been performing lately. What happened there? Because it feels like if they don't grab a win in the early game, they just don't win the games. They need this lead.
Yeah, I don't think they've been able to transition a lot of the leads they have found. Either you get teams that are better prepared for them, where they're like, hey, we're going to put down defensive vision and catch you out as you try and play around Elyoya off these pushing bot lanes, or they end up in a position where they get to the mid game and then the whole thing is just falling apart.
Yeah, and I think that's the mid game specifically. I don't think necessarily they've been figured out. I think it's also just a time where Mad Lions just started making weird mistakes. They'll overchase. They'll invade an enemy jungle. They'll try go for a play that's not even there. If you have a look at that goal difference as well, from the early game bleeding into that late game, well, actually at the 8-minute mark, they're ahead. At the 14-minute mark, they're ahead. And this is on an average. You go to the 25th minute mark, they go down in negatives again. This is just a team that struggles heavily with figuring out what they need to do. And it comes from sorts of different fronts.
Yeah, I think partly it's team fights. Oftentimes I'll see them in their team fighting when they come to these objectives and it's, hey, we haven't set up correctly, so we don't have our flanks warded, Soup is getting attacked, we're not really able to peel from properly. It doesn't look like they're really coordinating or on the same page when they come to a lot of these as well. And I think it's just, when you get to that point, it's so important to be able to work as a unit.
Yeah, and I think that's really just the easy fix. We've seen MDK be as good as they were in the past. Of course, one of their strengths in Winter was that they were as proactive as they were. They were as aggressive as they were. And right now, I think they're just over-experimenting with it a bit too much. Like, you can easily go back to what worked. Elyoya, Alvaro, just teaming up around whoever they want to make a pick around, and then just limit yourself a little bit, because it's been too often that they've just gone past the tower to try and chase for a kill that just ends up backfiring.
Yeah, they need to make things easier for themselves, and especially if they want to keep the playoffs hope alive and in their own hands here against BDS. Over to casters for this game.
Thank you very much, Law. We are here for this game. It's the Biker Crew / My Chemical Romance lookalike competition here. I think Vedi wins that one.
Medic showed up with a jacket today, and then they were like, you've got to wear the same jacket as Vedi. And I was like, well, I guess I don't have a choice then.
Mine has a Worlds logo on it, though, so it's slightly cooler.
Okay. I left mine at my mother's house when I went to visit her for Christmas, and I haven't been able to wear it, and it actually makes me very sad. So thanks for rubbing that in my face, medic.
It sounds like a skill issue to me. Anyway, Senna, Vi, and Varus bound away by Team BDS. Orianna, Ashe, and Karma taken away by Mad Lions Koi. BDS at 4 and 3 are locked into our playoffs because of SK losing earlier today. Obviously, higher seeding does matter, so they want to win this game. Mad Lions Koi yet to lock. Looks like we're going to have kind of a battle royale between Giant X, SK, Karmine Corp, Mad Lions Koi, and possibly Rogue for those final couple of spots. 3 spots left for those 5
But here's
teams.
the TLDR. Winning games, good.
Yes.
The more you win, the higher your likelihood is of qualifying for top 8, which is definitely what Mad Lions Koi would like to do. They have definitely been struggling recently. So let's see what they've cooked up today. Smolder is available. The Kalista into Smolder. We literally just got to see that matchup play out in a, what I would call an interesting back and forth.
100% of the time today, the Kalista wins. So, proven track record. Might as well FF right now. Nico picked up as well by Mad Lions Koi. They have a color palette going on, and I love it. Sort of a purplish, bluey orange.
You have to imagine the Nautilus going to be prioritized here for BDS. They could also look at something like an early Xin Zhao. Sheo, fantastic performance on the Xin Zhao yesterday against Fnatic. Instead, they might be looking for a little bit more range. Renata, a champion that has fallen to the wayside a little bit, still a very good answer into things like Nautilus. Also just pairs up very nicely with Kalista, especially with the Ashe taken away. Double range bot side of the map gives you a lot of power. Question is, how will they round out their first half of the draft, I should say. Are they thinking jungle, or are they thinking of trying to answer this Nico? Remember that Nico is a flex pick. There's always the ability for it to be played in support. So far this split, we haven't seen that from Alvaro, but you should always consider it as a possibility.
Yeah, it definitely can work well in that support role. We saw Mickey play it yesterday, I want to say. But BDS still looking for their final pick of the first rotation here. Currently hovering towards the mid lane, but they've been hovering on this LeBlanc for a while, which often means they're going to try and switch it up right at the last moment. There's the Ahri locked in for Nuke. So no junglers picked on either side as of yet. Mad Lions Koi could look to jungle here and then pinch the pool a little bit, but it's hard to pinch jungle right now because people can always fall back to a tank if they want. Sejuani, Xin Zhao's good, Maokai's still okay. You have things like the Jax. The Braum locked in means it's bot and mid solidified for these 2 teams.
Well, it's going to be a bot side focused draft for BDS, and they're definitely no stranger to that. Tried and true, that's for sure. Excited to see if they can make that one work out for them. They're going to have to consider blind top side of the map now. Jack's going to be taken away as a possible jungle. Means that Mad Lions, they may be thinking about, well, I was going to say things like a Viego. There was another pick that Jax is also really good into that now I've completely lost in my head, but it's a really good jungle answer, and I'm lost the one that I wanted.
Feels like it's okay into Xin Zhao as well.
It's okay into Xin, yeah.
We'll say it was Xin Zhao, you know? Could have been something else. We'll say it was Xin Zhao for now. There's the Olaf band away as well, away from Adam. BDS blocking out possible mid laners that could go in for Scowy's hands, as you said. The Nico's still a flex for Alvaro if he wants it. You still have things like his Rel and his Nautilus available. But actually with the Braum locked in, then the Nico definitely isn't a flex. So they banned out TF top, which also makes sense. Like, I'm sorry, but also Mad Lions Koi have this blue-purple color scheme. TF doesn't fit into that, so why on earth would they pick it? Jace does fit into that, so that's a good ban from BDS as they want to...
so they're looking at a Sejuani based on your color scheme.
Yeah, I like Sejuani. Karma kind of fits into it as well if you want to play Karma top.
Actually, as we predicted, Jack's very good into Xin.
Yeah. Told you, Reddy. Just stick with your convictions. Is the Xin Zhao.
So now the question is, how do they want to answer? We've seen things like Volibear, we've seen Lee Sin, we've seen Viego, all very viable options. But when you think about Sheo as a jungler, I was going to say, usually you think of him as more of a bruiser, tanky type of player.
I mean, Voli fits in that wheelhouse.
Definitely does.
Gives you a lot of early game prowess as well. So alongside the Kalista, if you want to be tower diving bot, you already have the bailout for 1 save, you have Fate's Call for a 2nd save, and you have the power of the Storm itself as Voli comes down and disables that tower.
I would say that Nuke, if he had played a control mage, this would be a very tried and true BDS composition. I guess the other caveat is that when we think of BDS AD carries, you typically think Zeri, Aphelios. Kalista is not usually the type of AD carry that they play. They've been much more about mid to late game team fights, much more about scaling.
Yeah.
Oh, the Nico. You know, I was thinking to myself, unless that Nico is a flex top, but that seems unlikely, which is why I didn't bring it up.
It's Mirwin, Betty. Everything can be flexed everywhere when Mirwin's on the Rift.
Do you reckon it might be on hit? I haven't looked at maybe solo queue recently.
It could be. I think when we saw on hit Nico a lot, the shape splitter gave you a lot of extra damage. I think they nerfed that pretty heavily to remove it. So I wouldn't mind it being on hit, although I think AP is still stronger, especially with the combination with the Annie, you know, Tibbers into Pop Blossom. Like, it's such a powerful combo, and you have enough physical damage from the Smolder anyway through the game.
I mean, I will say Mad Lions overall do have a lot of magic damage, though.
Yeah.
But regardless, I think they've got a pretty interesting composition. A lot of AoE damage with things like Annie and the Nico offers a huge amount of utility. Braum for the protection, Xin Zhao acting as that engage, and once it gets on top of that target, a lot of potential damage. Overall, I think BDS's composition kind of very well-rounded in the sense that it has a strong mid-game spike, but they're kind of invested in the early game here. Yeah. When you've got Kalista, Ahri, Renekton, that composition, especially with a Volibear, that comp really does fall off a cliff. So BDS, they kind of have to put pedal to the metal as quickly as possible to get this comp online, get it rolling, find some action towards the bot side of the map, because I feel like if you give this Smolder enough time, as is often the case, you're going to deal with a big scaling problem and difficult on actual access getting onto that backline, right? How much threat is there really when you look at BDS's composition? I mean, there's some Ahri potential flank, Renekton can maybe get a decent dive, Volibear ultimate, but things like Braum, Annie ultimate, Nico ultimate, there's a lot of disengage tools on the side of Mad Lions Koi that they can use to keep Super alive. So, yeah, I think early game is the name of the game here for BDS. I want to see them being proactive. I want to see them having that control and agency to make stuff happen in the early game. And I'd love to see it from BDS because, again, when you typically think about their AD carries, Zeri and Aphelios are their most played.
It's a slower gameplay as well from BDS. 35 minutes, their average game time this split. The average in the LEC is about 33 minutes, so about two-ish minutes longer than the average. Nice to see a couple of fans from New Zealand in the audience as well, as we have a small delay getting into the game. There was a client issue causing the game to lock in with incorrect champions, and I think we should have just made them play the game, but apparently that goes against competitive integrity or some such.
Yes, it's often helpful to have
Ultimate Bravery, Ultimate Bravery LEC edition. That's what I want to see, Betty. Remember the good old days of Ultimate Bravery?
I think, C-Medic, I think that you think it would be good, but I don't think it would actually be good.
I think it would be really funny for one game. Similarly to how a lot of the rotating game modes are really fun for one game. And then I go back to ranked.
Until you run into
and then I have so much fun in ranked. That's true.
My favorite challenges in the league are the ones where everyone comes together to make like something very specific happen.
Okay.
So for example, my favorite is the race from one side of the rift to the other challenge. You know, where like you'd have like a Rammus with I think it was Zillion and Karma, and you'd have to build a comp to like basically achieve a goal. And then like also like, I don't know, fastest clear jungle challenges and like all these different things that you can do in the game to basically make the game as hard as possible.
I mean, does it make the game, because to make the game hard, when I think of making a game hard, I think of like Elden Ring Randomizer, right? Really difficult to play. Weird bosses coming out, items in all different locations, but you're still trying to complete the game.
There's a chance that a minion is replaced with a Baron.
That would be hilarious, right? But you're still trying to kill the Nexus. In the games that you mentioned, you're not actually like completing the game in any way. You're just doing a challenge.
Yeah, but do you know the problem with League?
Yes.
Is that like...
There were a few.
No, there are. But like in Elden Ring, there's a degree of skill expression in that the raw numbers don't matter because you have like the invulnerability
claims. You can just do an RL1 or something.
You can dodge infinitely, right? But in League, that's not possible. I don't think that it's actually, but like there's just raw numbers at a certain point.
Sounds
raw
like a skill issue. Just right click away from them, Betty.
Just
turn off your monitor if you're getting really annoyed.
I feel like you get to a point where like there are certain things that just limit you in terms of what you can and can't do.
Okay.
You're gated at a certain point.
Yeah. Reaction speed, hand stiff, those gate me all the time.
I feel like I'm not explaining myself very well.
No, I get what you mean, right? Like in the end, if a Yone gets big enough, he just right clicks you, presses E, and then you can't get away. Right?
Yes.
You just get chased down.
Correct.
However, you could be the Yone.
Yes.
Then no one can run away from you.
But there's always a bigger fish. Like, you know, I'm sure that there's something that outscales Yone. Jax, maybe?
Maybe? I'm not sure.
We'll never know.
Well, we could know. I'm just saying, guys, tomorrow there's likely to be some games that
we are
don't
struggling
matter
to film
too much.
content. Wow, man, it's been a while.
Look, okay, we kind of went off on the tangent early because I wanted to bring us back as we were going to get on into the game. And I have been told, hopefully in about 30 seconds, we'll be getting on into the game. So why is this game important, everyone? Well, firstly, winning is fun. Okay, 50 gold for taking the Nexus. That's gold you take to the bank. You can buy GameStop stocks with it or something.
Don't think you can. That's not true. Just want to clarify.
Thanks for being a spoiled sport. Secondly, for MDK, they are sitting at only 2 wins so far in Spring. After making it to the finals last split, there's been an underwhelming, disappointing performance for them. And winning here separates them from Carmine Core and from Rogue, who would be sitting below them. And obviously only 2 teams get eliminated going into playoffs at the end of this week. So, getting to 3 wins is a good benchmark. Likely won't lock you in to the playoffs guaranteed, but at least keeps you 2 wins away from Rogue, which means even if they win both their games, you're guaranteed a tiebreaker with them, right? So
that's why I like to think of, when you're thinking about tiebreakers, the more you win, the better. So MDK want to win, and BDS would also like that.
Yeah.
So let's find out who can achieve their dreams today on the Rift. As a quick reminder, just as we get into game, no LEC tomorrow. We'll be back Monday.
So I'm playing Elden Ring.
Yeah, that's not the reason.
Seems to have coincided really well, Benny, just saying.
But we will be back Monday. So break tomorrow, and then we'll be back Monday. Yeah, that's the only major update I have for you all. Anyway, we're jumping into game.
Mirwin is running press the attack, so it's very likely.
It's on hit.
On hit. Nico in the top lane. Dorman's Blade start. Adam realizing he's going to be in for a little bit of pain in the top lane, has started with a Doran shield himself. Bot lane, summoner-wise, we have an aggressive summoner from Labrov, a heal from Alvaro, because he knows he's really not going to be the one being aggressive in this bot lane, just wants to try and survive through the early damage that is Kalista and Renata.
So I don't think Adam's going to have fun. I think that he's going to be very upset in this
Should have gone Ultimate Bravery.
No, don't think you can do that, Medic. But basically, it's a trade of sides. MDK have to play defensively, weak side on the bot. Already information trying to be garnered on the bot side of the map from BDS as they drop that ward, obviously going to be pinged out. This should give some information that Elyoya rather is starting somewhere on the top side. Sheo is going to be starting on his Raptors. Now the question is, will he do his bot side clear into enemy invade, or will he look to do a full clear? I imagine, because their focus is trying to attack the bot side of the map, they want to leverage the fact that they have a winning 2 versus 2. And we're going to see some priority. Already a very nice trade from the Brav and Ice. Putting a lot of pressure down onto Super. And there we are, moving over to the... oh, here we are. I'm keeping my eyes on Elyoya. Actually, how will he adapt his pathing? Red buff has been secured by Sheo. Is this going to be a level 2 gank from Elyoya? He's looking for it.
Looks like it. Labrov and Ice are pushed up. Sheo's on his way across. Labrov flashing away as Alvaro looks for the concussive blows, and Labrov is just down. Ice has to flash as well, but the chase continues. Ice knocked up with a Q3. Concussive blows again. There's a cleanse away. Ice is 1 auto from death, and Super finds it. It's a double for MDK in the bot lane, and the Mad Lions have come for a bit of a Barney. Sheo's going to get a double in response as Elyoya looks to trade onto him, trying to stack up that Q. Manages to get the damage 3 for 2. Elyoya, the minions! The minions!
Ooh, he just drops aggro. So what pathing from Elyoya? He does 1 camp straight to bot. Nuke. Whoa. Oh! That was close. That was very close.
Not even close, Benny. That was double-digit HP,
yep.
You know?
That's going to be a trade of flashes in the mid lane. Wow, what crazy action. So Elyoya is just trying to punish the aggression here from BDS. Great adaptation, force flash from Alvaro, forces out from Labrov, easy first kill. They get the flash here from Ice, and that should already be enough, but they think, you know what, we can get more here. Even though Sheo has level 3 and gets some great damage down, Super has to commit the flash to make sure that he gets that double kill. That allows Sheo to get some back. And if Sheo's E had come up here, I really think he could have gotten a 3rd kill. Unfortunately for him, not quite enough. Elyoya very close to dying, but he's able to stay alive. It looks like BDS were not expecting that, but impressive stuff from Elyoya.
And his pathing has always been a key point of MDK's early game. I was informed Nuke survived on 10 HP, which is double digits.
True.
But the power of getting your bot lane in an okay position in the early game against Kalista, Renata, and burning Kalista and Renata's summoners, all 4 of them. It's so good for MDK. Now, Elyoya is going to feel the hurt of it a little bit, skip some of his camps. Now he's going to have that bot lane pushing in, allowing Sheo and Nuke just to step into this jungle alongside Labrov. Ice stacking the wave here means that Alvaro and Super have to catch it. Looking for the Gromp as well. Alvaro's going to come across. The stun on Elyoya. He's low, down to about 200 HP, 100 now. He's so low. Ice looking for the pierce, can't quite find it. Unbreakable could come out from Alvaro to stop any more spears landing. Concussive blows into a couple more stacks for Super. Sheo, is Elyoya going to path back towards his wolves? Looks like he won't, but Sheo can bring down the Thunder once again, just to keep Elyoya around if he so desires.
So Scour keeping Nuke underneath his tower is super important to make sure that BDS can't guarantee this numbers advantage, but now this bot lane is at the whim of Sheo. Elyoya can do absolutely nothing to assist. You imagine that a dive is very likely to come through soon.
The problem for
the
a team called Mad Lions is a dive is always just a whim away, a whim away, a whim away, a whim away.
You got a chuckle out of our producer for that one.
Yeah, I did. That was a pretty good one, I'll be honest.
Instead, they're going to convert that pressure into an early dragon. 5 minutes on the clock, and they're going to grab that almost immediately. Frescari relatively low here. Going for the corrupting pot on Nuke gave him a bit of extra sustain. That's really helping him out in these trades. Now has a nice health advantage, which he's going to use to gain control over this mid wave. And remember, both TPs were invested, so Annie going back here makes things very favorable for Nuke. So all things looking up for BDS right now. That early gank was promising to alleviate some of that pressure, but
the snowball effect from it is
I wanted to say
bad.
the snowball. I looked at the bottom and I was like 45 CS to 18.
And Super's level 3 and Ice is almost level 6.
There's only a difference of 13 gold.
I don't think the 13 gold matters. I think the Fate's Call in a couple of minions is what really matters in this position. Like, sure, Super got 2 kills, but he's not able to collect any of the waves. He's being forced away. Mid lane is Nuke's leading as well and getting the push in mid because Annie can't push that quickly before she gets Tivers. Elyoya's level 4 and is half the CS of Sheo. So as much as, yes, you got 2 kills, I'd have to go back and look at exactly how things extrapolated from those 2 kills, but it's actually cost MDK a lot in terms of their tempo and their map position after those first couple of kills.
I mean, it's very awkward for Mad Lions Koi, for sure. Because typically you'd expect things like potential cross maps, you know, while all this pressure is going towards the bot side of the map, you as MDK can leverage a prio mid and Elyoya to threaten some dives top. You look at Adam's HP and you're like, oh, that's actually in potential dive range. But they haven't been able to do that because of the pressure that's been put onto Elyoya. Sheo just controlling that bot side of the jungle, limiting Elyoya's ability to gain experience. After his reset, he's now moved to the top side, secured himself 2 grubs. Now he should be able to grab his red, but again, this just opens up the bot side of the map for Sheo. I haven't been keeping track of whether or not he's actually killed his own blue buff yet, but he doesn't really need it, considering he just keeps stealing away those camps from Elyoya.
Took away the last blue from Mad Lions Koi. Mirwin here in the top lane is, as we said, the on-hit Neeko. Still does, you build up 2 stacks with your auto attacks from Shape Splitter, and then you do bonus magic damage after building up the 2 stacks.
Yeah,
so
you can see, well, it was just highlighted on the bottom
that
map.
extra
No
burst.
points in Q, just points in W and E. Oh, thank you, Observers, highlighting it for us again. Just because it gives you that additional on-hit effect.
See it down here. It just shows you that extra damage is what he's looking for. And it does work out well. It's still nowhere near as strong as it was once. Gives you a bit of extra
Is that
bonus
volley
movement
there,
speed
bot
as
lane
well.
again, Medic?
It is, Veddy! What a surprise! I wonder
See, this
who
is
would
what
win in a
solo
battle
queue,
between Bears and Lions.
This is what solo queue AD carries think is happening to them, but this is what actually happens in pro play when you're in a losing matchup.
The problem is, as a solo queue AD carry, and I speak from a support's mindset here, your jungler doesn't cover you.
Yeah,
so you just die to all of these ganks because you never have protection. You just get
Elyoya
dived.
wouldn't have been there.
Yeah, Elyoya's never there. He's like, oh, hey guys, there's Grumps, and he's got a Grump on top side, so I'm going to go take that Grump because I need to go for myself. And that does make sense in solo queue because often the only person you can rely on is yourself.
True.
Here, though, MDK are relying quite heavily on Super being in a good position when we get towards the later portions of the game. Smolder.
It's shocking to me that he's 40 CS down and only down 300 gold.
I mean, he's got 2 kills, Veddy.
I mean, I appreciate that, but like, this is going to be their 3rd plate.
It's an all-you-can-eat buffet, but Super practiced a bit of cannibalism earlier on in the lane by gobbling up 2 of the enemy team. You were really wondering where I was going with that one.
Like, oh, okay, cool, okay, yeah. That's a metaphor.
Ice and LeBron have been back for a 3rd plate, but they still haven't been able to match the amount of gold. Elyoya is still covering, still only level 5, but does dissuade the dive. Blue now respawning. On the rest of the map, not really too much happening. Mirwin winning the top lane matchup as expected. You're arranged into a melee, kind of how you see this matchup going. There were a couple of grubs picked up by MDK, a Drake taken by BDS in a minute's time. Another Drake will spawn, but once again, Elyoya, he covered the dive expertly. He was there, he stood around, he made sure the dive didn't materialize, but for it. He loses his bottom side jungle. Oh, Adam. Merwin was thinking about it. Doesn't go for it in the end.
The pressure's been gained. You should be able to secure plates off the back of this anyway. Oh, look, Sheo, bot lane again.
I like this from Sheo. Just making sure Alvaro doesn't have a good reset timer. Also, Labrov can step round and you can kind of gate Super and Alvaro from getting back into the lane if you're around here. Super now has to be really careful when he walks back in because Sheo could just be waiting in that bush. You can see Alvaro stepping forward trying to make sure that Sheo isn't just stopping Super from walking into the lane. Reset comes out from Ice and Labrov though, so Super is a little bit more safe.
So I'm just going back through the VOD to have a quick check. And Sheo did in fact clear his Wolves and his Gromp. Didn't clear Blue Buff.
No. Blue Buff is level 1. Yeah. Do you think this is what every Blue Buff aspires to be? You know, most of them spawn, it's like, oh, I've got my happy little family. After my job is done here, I'll go back to them with my little Bluette and Blution, which is the German name for a small Blue Buff,
I don't think the Blue Buff has that level of sentience.
No?
No. I think it's just a rock that stands there.
But it's a moving rock.
Yeah. Alioya might be dead.
Yeah, quite possibly. Crescent Guard comes down. There's a heal as well from Alvaro, but Alioya's had to burn his ultimate, and they get a summoner out of it. BDS still looking for that Drake. Flash from Labrov, flash away by Alioya. The Drake should be pretty much guaranteed for BDS here. Super forced away from the wave. Has to use the cleanse as well as the flash goes in from Sheo. The tower falling low down to a plate itself as Ice continues to gobble up that gold. Fresskowy coming in from the side. Almost has that stun charged up. Sheo able to walk away, though, from the Chu. Super only sneezing on the backside of that bear.
I mean, that is now 4 plates to Sheo. I mean, credit to BDS. They've done pretty much everything right that they can do, and now they're going for the dive.
Yeah, Super has no cleanse. Nuke's going to just jump across it. Unbreakable comes out. Mom is called. Labrov tanking the tower, can use the bailout phase call first. There's the stun on Ice, though, and with Ice tanking it secondary, BDS have botched the dive. It's gone all to hell. Oh, MDK, the cover was perfect for BDS. What on earth was that?
That was a 3 for 3. BDS finally tried to make the dive happen, and it all falls apart. We see the ultimate come out from Sheo to shut down the turret. But what is the target focus here? So Braum is tanking up a lot. The ultimate from Super is massive. Labrov then gets the reset. But then look at that, the wind becomes lightning, just kills them both. The second that he comes out of it, Alioya gets that kill.
I think it ends up being a 3 for 2, Vetty, in favor of MDK.
No, I swear it was 3 for 3. Yeah, I think it...
Only Super and Alioya died. Alvaro and Fresskowy were still alive at the end of it, and obviously Mirren's up towards the top side.
Because it was, 2-3 earlier, now it's 4-6. You are correct. My apologies. Second Dragon now alive.
I'm sure the fans will forgive you for misstating one number, you know?
They will remember this forever. Bettis is a decent cast, but do you remember that one time
he did the math
miscalculated? Oh, I don't think I can ever forgive him for that.
So BDS now in a gold deficit. MDK have taken the lead with their ability to mind control BDS into some slightly poor dives. The tower's still low, though.
I mean, I think the idea was good. I just think the execution was
dire.
Yes. I mean, you look at the gold, MDK lead. The fact that there is a 50 CS difference between those 80 carries and there's literally only a 275 gold lead, absolutely crazy. MDK have done everything that they can to mitigate the sheer amount of pressure. Alioya consistently has his bot camp stolen, but he's now up in gold thanks to all the kills that he keeps getting for himself. Nuke was able to get a double, so he has advantage over Fresskowy, who hasn't really been able to get involved in this game so far, but aside from that, everything looking up for MDK.
We'll see how they play around the next Dragon of the game. That's up in 4 minutes. BDS do love stacking their Drakes, and if they can open up this bot side, well, it makes it a bit easier for them to get that deep vision that makes taking Dragons that much easier. This tower, basically a stiff breeze from falling over. They want to get it in the next 25 seconds before the plates go down. After that, the manager will kick them out of the all-you-can-eat buffet and say, you've had your fill. Mom comes down again, and Bob's tanking it. He's down. He's just dead. Hostile takeover's used, but at some point, BDS, like, Insanity's doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. It hasn't gone well for you the last few times. And the Unbreakable stops any chance of BDS getting another kill out of that. So another kill to MDK. They're doing a great job of stopping these dives happening. And you have to give them credit for it, because it would be very easy to be like, okay, we forfeit bot lane. Yes, we'll give up the tower. Super can then farm further back in the lane, and you give up a lot of pressure. But MDK have read BDS like a book throughout this game, and Mirwin will be the one to take first turret.
He will. Nearly 2k gold lead now in favor of MDK. They have been welcoming participants in the attempts of BDS's early game.
They say don't look a gift horse in the mouth.
Do they?
I mean, that is an English idiom. It's like, you know, don't... It used to be if someone gave you a horse, right, if you were buying a horse, you'd inspect their teeth to see if they were infected. So it's now, if someone gives you a horse, don't be, you know, scroungy enough to look them in the mouth.
I see.
But then the Trojan horse happened. It's like, well, maybe we should look them in the mouth, you know?
It's but a gift! Why are you so suspicious? It's a great point, Medic.
Was it? It was a point. We'll put it there.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great analogy for what's happening in this game, that's for sure. MDK, they may be confused, but they are welcoming of their current circumstances. 7-4 is the kill lead. 1k gold lead for now. Yeah, a lot of that sitting on Mirwin.
Super's at 120 stacks as well, though. It's not going to be the quickest 225 we've ever seen on a Smolder, but considering how far behind he's been put in the lane, it's a pretty sizable chunk for him to be on right now. Rifteld being taken by BDS. MDK did set up around it, but I think they're just going to accept that they didn't really have mid-prio. All 5 members of BDS are over here for Scowies in the bot lane, don't want to invest his TP into joining the fray, so BDS will get the Herald, and Super will just get another mid-wave. 2 levels down, though. It's still that experience differential we talked about earlier on, with Ice having that lead.
So, we think about next objectives. 130 until the Dragon, with the bot tower being taken. BDS may consider opening up other towers, but they're cautious about the fact that the Dragon is spawning soon, so you would consider maybe moving your bot side up towards top, or maybe mids to start sieging towards these outer towers. Mirwin actually just going to stay top, keep this pressure up as much as possible. He doesn't have the TP available, Adam does, so he could get involved in a fight sooner, but there's a world where MDK just concede the next Dragon in order to secure that top tier 2. Yeah. But it depends how strong they feel that they are right now. Remember that BDS's comp, the reason why early Dragons is so important is you force this scaling comp into a fight earlier than they want to, right? And then you have things like Xin, Annie to help you bridge that gap. They are the champions that do have strong one-item spikes, and the fact that Elioya finds himself at 4-1 and 2 is a great spot to be in. So it ultimately comes down to MDK and whether or not do we think that we are strong enough to fight them right now, or do we instead actually, are we fine giving away this next Dragon, waiting for Smolder to maybe get the second item and then look for a fight afterwards?
That's always the debate you have to have with yourselves. Mirwin will have his TP for the Drake fight. It'll be up in about 20 seconds time, but it will be for the fight, not for any setup before the fight materializes. Super still building up those stats, has the Essence Reaver, still only 1 item to Ice as well.
I guess the plan is to maybe force a fight early and then TP back to top, but you look at Mirwin right now, he's already on the objective.
Alvaro going forward, there's the Unbreakable, TP coming in from Mirwin, TP behind as well by Adam, Mum being called, Sheo has to get away from the back of the fight, Adam TP'd in and MDK disengage. A hostile takeover used as well by Labrov. In terms of ultimates, we still have Adam's Dominus, still have the Pop Blossom, we still have Tibbers as well. Frescowi and Mirwin can team up very effectively if they can find that double ult combo. Dragon down to 6,000. Sheo's already reset. Like, BDS, are you just going to keep this busy for the next 40 seconds or so? Because I think MDK can take it before Sheo is even able to get there. But the fight continues as Alvaro puts up the Unbreakable once again, and Adam just dashes into his demise. Super takes him. BDS, that just seemed like such a greedy fight to take. Your jungler had reset. There was no way you were going to win a smite fight, and Adam flashes into his death.
I mean, MDK did everything correctly. Just as the top wave was hitting the tower is when they chose to force the fight. Alvaro was in initially... Oh, hang on a minute.
Yeah, Alvaro's going to get caught out here. Puts the Unbreakable down. Nuke dashing across the wall. Charm lands. Nuke will get one. Get the Spirit Rush reset. Crescent Guard out from Elioya, but Elioya will fall to Sheo, who rejoins the action. Super has Cleanse and Flash, so should be able to get away from the very angry bear that's beginning to chase him down. Nuke just surviving again. BDS able to get a couple of kills out of the backside of the fight, but they definitely lost the Drake, and MDK stopped the scaling.
BDS, they're able to find something back, but going back to this initial play, you look at the timing. Oh, actually, we got much later into the fight after Sheo has already been forced out. It's Adam's flash in here, but then look at the wall here from Alvaro. Just the, truly to its name, the Unbreakable shield, just mitigating the damage from the backline of BDS, and it's just a wall they can't get through. Now, that was just a poor base from Alvaro. He shouldn't have tried to base inside the enemy's jungle. Then Elyoya tries to work with the team, saying, hey, you know what, this is actually a 3 versus 4. I think we can get something back here, but now you got a full health Cheo ready to fight. Nuke trying to flash in so he can get the reset off and then get the kill, get his HP back, maybe dying and then come back to life. But he ends up walking away with his life anyway, so all works out in the end for BDS, even though right now, as you rightly said, MDK is in a much better position. Because you kind of saw an example of how difficult it's going to be to get onto not just the Smolder, but you've also got this Eco constantly just hitting whoever is in range. So much utility is provided that this composition is going to be harder and harder to fight the longer the game goes.
Alvaro smartly putting 4 points in the E as well means that Unbreakable is up even more often in the fights. Cheo trying to get away from Mom. Super flashes for the concussive blows. And Friskawi will take the kill. Shut down over to him. Gold in his pocket. His first kill in the game, as you say. It might be a Baron. It might just be a push through mid lane, get that tower down, and then set up for the Baron later on, because you still don't have 2 items on Super. I don't think your damage profile is quite there yet.
Obviously, the cooldowns are still very low, and it's fair to say that they probably don't have the fastest Baron at this point in the game, so they're just going to play it safe. Although, yeah, just going to go grab that crab, and they did what they could to secure that mid tower, but a pick is still going to be fine. The only problem is Super did lose his flash chasing after that. Could be a problem later on. But again, it ultimately depends on how easily BDS can gain access onto the backside. You look at that top lane difference. Adam picked a weak side top lane. Myrwn has decimated him. Yeah. Obviously, this is not an easy matchup.
In a 1v1.
Yeah, it is not an easy matchup for Adam. And it could have been much worse if Elyoya had abandoned his bot side and instead they chose to camp that side. But a 2k gold lead just goes to show how difficult these range matchups can be for the Renekton.
And the risk for Adam is as well, like, he had to blind pick his top laner, and the Nico could still flex. So there was always this risk of, well, maybe they just pick Nico into it and mess us up. Hostile takeover eaten by the wall. Only Alvaro goes berserk. TP in by Friskawi, counter TP by Nuke. Shale falling low, and he will fall first. Elyoya takes the kill. Tangle Barbs into the Fate's Call. Will pull Labrov to safety. Doesn't want to re-engage, unsurprisingly, as MDK once again find a pick. And now can look to group up in this mid lane and push forward. Myrwn has gone down towards the bottom lane for that bot tower. Friskawi looking for the stun, lands it onto Adam, chunks him out a little bit. The wave is cleared in mid, but the bot tower will be Myrwn's prize for this sequence of events.
Because both teams are now looking at these outer towers as the next primary objective, right? To get them down gives you greater access into the enemy jungle. That gives you more opportunities to find picks, set up for plays. And so MDK, they stop the siege from BDS onto this mid tower after they'd used the Herald. And then rather than trying to overcommit and force this mid tower where BDS were just stacking as 4, they actually send Myrwn down to bot to go and catch that one. So they unlock an objective and have a little bit more control over the map. Now both these mid towers are getting lower and lower. Likely going to be that point to open up. Now with the dragon spawning in a minute's time, both these teams will come back to mid, look to gain control over that wave so they can gain access to the river. But earlier we talked about how maybe MDK wanted to avoid fighting that last dragon fight. I feel like that they should feel very confident, given how the last one went, that they should be able to do that. And Myrwn has his TP, so I'd love to see him actually maybe even go back to top lane, put that pressure down once again. Instead, for now, the reason why he's grouping is to help give them numbers, to help siege onto these towers. And by guaranteeing numbers, it allows you to gain control over that midway.
Yeah, Super needs to hit 2 more things to get fully stacked, or 225 stacks, the break point that you need on Smolder. And he has hit his second item before Ice. And when you think back to the first 10 minutes of the game, that is truly a shock how far ahead BDS were. Super walked up to the wave. There we are, 225. We have hit the win con. The outplay button, well, it hasn't even been pressed. It doesn't need to be. It just exists now. He'll press Q and do a hell of a lot of damage, with BDS already struggling to get that engage. Front to backs are not looking pretty for them at all, and Adam realizes that. He's looking for the flank. He's down towards the bottom side. If you can separate Alvaro from some of the backline, then you have an access point. Then you have a way in, but already Labrov unable to see the Annie waiting in the bush, and there's 2. The dragon as well for MDK, and Vedi is 3 minutes later, but I think this might spell a Baron.
Certainly looks like it. Ice now in danger.
That's the flash away. They continue to chase Sheo. That's it. It's done. MDK have scaled. Welcome to the late game. 24 minutes later. BDS have been well and truly shut out of this game. And there is the Baron. A just reward for how MDK navigated the early game. Although BDS did give it to them on a bit of a silver platter.
So we look at this engage, and when you're trying to create this flank or try to answer it, you just engage on one of the 2 sides. Labrov ends up being the target. Friskawi completely one-shots him, and the fight is already over before it even begins. No opportunity for Adam to find a flank. Means that BDS are forced to retreat. and it's just a one-sided affair. MDK playing these fights about as well as you can.
Yeah.
Very well done from them. They leverage their flexibility in the draft, and they are shutting down BDS for a much-needed win here as we draw ever closer to playoffs.
Huge win in the playoffs race for them. Tomorrow, oh, not tomorrow, on Monday they play up against Fnatic, a very difficult opponent right now. But getting this gets them to 3 wins, ties them up with GIANTX and SK. Carmine Core and Rogue obviously play later on today. I would shout and scream about it, but it's kind of just the way things are for BDS right now as MDK find another pick on Adam, who did push up and get a tier 2 in the bottom lane. Nuke trying to get some gold back as well, up towards that top side. There's a tier 1 there for him, but MDK are looking at a much juicier prize. Inhibitor Tower a possibility, as they still have a cannon minion in this wave, 3 casters alongside it. And the Tibbers, if you want to tank the tower with that, likely send that in first, then let the minions stay healthy enough that the backdoor bonus isn't removed. This tower's becoming tankier, obviously, when minions aren't around them. TP possibilities here. Any flank wards, there's one all the way in the pit, in Dragon Pit for BDS if they want it. Nuke does have a TP. Mirwin pushing in mid lane, takes those towers, melts them like a knife through butter. Mom called just to send BDS packing. They've been grounded to their fountain. 2 weeks in the sin bin for them as MDK force BDS back and will take 2 inhibitors off this push, most likely.
They're going to keep going. Remember that Fresskowy still has the flash ulti available.
So does Mirwin. And there we go, Crescent Guard for the knockback. The shutdown from Super unstoppable. Isolabrov and Nuke can only stand and watch as MDK raise their base to the ground. Nuke tries to dash in, hostile takeover, dodge to the side by Super, and perhaps MDK stepped a little bit too far forward as Nuke finds another bailout, brings it back. Mirwin trying to get away, does still have that Pop Blossom if he wants to go back in, but Super's low. Super's ticking down, there's the Pop Blossom, and Super! He dashed into his death, the triple in the end for Ice, the final kill for Sheo, an ace for BDS, but their base lies in tatters around them.
I mean, BDS have done a good job of delaying the inevitable, but I think this is what it is, inevitable. MDK are just so strong at this point. They are so online with their late game composition. BDS, nice flash ultimate there from Fresskowy, connects onto 3. The cleanse and disengage from Ice to create space to go and heal up. MDK think that they can end the game here. Problem is, they've only got a single minion left. They get too greedy. A very nice ultimate from Labrov basically turns the fight on its head. And BDS know at this point that they can chase. Nice resurrection there comes out onto Nuke. And then Mirwin thinks that he's found a nice ulti here, but doesn't quite connect. Coaching staff not too frustrated. They know that this game is very likely in the bag. As a reminder, BDS have already locked a spot in top 8. The outcome of this game doesn't hurt those chances, but of course you'd like to get a higher seed, and this definitely will hurt that.
Play against a weaker opposition in your first few rounds of those best of 3s. Cannon minion trolling MDK a little bit there. Just because you can attack from far away doesn't mean you can't get closer and tank the tower for them, you know? But MDK just a little bit too greedy on that push. You have to expect, though, it's all done, but the final nails in the coffin here. Adam forced to flash away in the top side. Super minions pushing in bot. Nuke's answering that. Super minions pushing in mid. They're going to meet in mid wave, and they will slowly force their ways over to the BDS side of the map.
They're trying to catch as many waves as possible to make the siege even harder, which is why you'll notice MDK actually moving over to mid and then walking that wave into the base just so they have that point of pressure. This forces BDS to come and respond, which gives more access for MDK to start putting extra pressure on top. They know that they can leave Mirwin largely alone, but why bother when you can create this collapse and likely kill Adam?
Adam has no flash. Will slice initially. Will try and dice away, but it doesn't have it, so can't really use it. Starex heals him up a bit, though, so now they can look for a re-engage, perhaps with the Dominus coming down. MDK still very healthy. The tower's already fallen. Sheo looking for perhaps a flank position. Nuke lands the charm. Only onto Alvaro, puts up the Unbreakable. Minion wave cleared out. Those supers now knocking on the Nexus as Ice decides those are his first priority right now. What have we got in terms of objectives? Well, there's Cloud Drake up, but it's no one's soul. Would only put either team on the 3rd, and I don't think BDS really have the option of going out and taking it. The Baron still a minute away. Obviously, Baron would help MDK's push quite substantially, but for now, they have to wait for that objective. Elioyo with the knockup from the Q3. Sheo, Stormbringer's down. Hostile takeover lands onto 2, but not onto Super. That's the key target there. And with the minion wave being escorted, once again, only one Nexus tower stands between MDK and their 3rd win of spring. Mirwin escorting that minion wave in the top lane. Nuke down to half HP from a small combo out of Super. And with 3 inhibitors down, BDS are well and truly out of this game. Super minions will be doubled in all the lanes from their next spawn. TP behind here is Adam perhaps looking for the flag. Actually, I think it's Nuke who's TPing behind them. Nuke goes in, lands the charm onto Super. Super almost falls, but Super's already killed off. Islabov goes down as well as Super manages to survive. Oh no, it's not another Smolder Penta, is it? Adam retreats to the base. The Nexus towers the first target, but MDK, they see the 5k in their eyes. They want it. They pop the Dominus. Tibbers walks in first. Adam's not going to give it to him. You got to earn it. And on Smolder, you don't have to do much to do that. MDK will earn the win, though. Supreme navigation of the early game. A few botched dice from BDS, giving them more gold than perhaps they were due. But they claim their 3rd win, and they elevate themselves off the bottom of the standings.
You see the challenges with BDS draft. It is very early game focus. It relies on you hard winning bot side of the map, having control over mid, and the Annie shut that down in the mid lane and ultimately made it very difficult. So well played, MDK. Of course, you can vote for your key player of the game at LEC on XL, Yoya, Fresskowy, or Super, all very viable options. But yeah, much needed win for MDK in the race for playoffs. As you said, a very tight race towards the bottom end.
It really is. We're going to see how much that race tightens up with our next game. But we'll be right back after this.
Red Bull gives you wings.